DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as DreAllDay, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we are on part 6 of our now concluding mini-series, things about marketing that you need to know that most people do not tell you. We're going to pick up right where we left off at point number 16. And before I start, I will let you know this episode is brought to you by the good folks at WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. You want to have Dre Baldwin as your coach? That is the place where it happens. That link is below in the description to this episode. Point number 16. Email is still the golden goose that lays the golden eggs. What does that mean? Email being the golden goose means, unlike a preteen, there was some kid who's maybe 13 or 14 years old who wrote me a few years ago on Snapchat that email is only for old people. Email still works, and it still works well. It is not just for old people or maybe older than him. Excuse me, email still works. If you are on my email list, how often do you get emails from me? Usually every day, sometimes more than once in a day. If I had to close off all of my social channels and only keep one, I would keep the audio version of this show. If I had to close off all my marketing channels and only keep one, I would cut off all the advertising campaigns that I run and just send email. If I was down to only the bare essentials, it would be email every day, sometimes more than once a day, and an audio version of this show and nothing else. I can do all my marketing just off those two things. Now, all the other things, YouTube can go away, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything else, all of those can go away. I can do all my marketing just through those two channels that I just mentioned. Audio version of this show, no video, and email. That's it. Email is still powerful because most people still start their days by checking their email. People wake up in the morning, they check maybe their text messages and they check their email. And that's why you want to be there, so that when they open their text messages, they got a text from you, or they open their email, they got an email from you. And email is still treated more, it's more professional correspondence is in email, whereas text is a little bit more formal. Text is more casual, non-formal, informal. And most people send important correspondence through email. Why? Because important correspondence must be written down. Cannot be said, it has to be written down. If you take somebody to court and you say there's an agreement, that agreement needs to be on paper. Can't just be verbal, has to be written down on paper, hopefully signed. Direct message is not that. People don't do that through disappearing texts like Snapchat or any of those other apps. If you don't have an email list, start building an email list. If you don't have one, start building one. If you do have an email list, start reaching out to that list consistently. Again, once a week, I would say is your minimum. If you have an email list, if you have a list of email addresses and contacts and people who have dealt with you in the past and would generally know who you are, or maybe they don't, you should be reaching out to your list at least once a week. Why? Because less than once a week, people may forget that you exist because you're getting all kinds of emails and all kinds of messages coming at them all day, every day. If you don't reach out at least once a week, they may forget that you exist. You don't want that happening. So email is still the golden goose out here. Send your emails, use your email list, and get your message out to the people you need to get it out to in written format. People will take the time to actually read your email if they come to see that you're consistent and they decide that they like your message. And it's a way that you can access your audience through direct contact, and you don't need to use any platform that you don't have control over in order to do so. In other words, you need to keep a positive relationship with YouTube to reach people who follow you on YouTube. Same with LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, and all the other applications out there. And you don't control those apps. Anything can happen to any one of them. Now, while at the same time you do use some type of email sending client to reach your email list, you still own the list. The list itself is still yours. So even if you use MailChimp, for example, if you get kicked off of MailChimp or you decide you don't want to use MailChimp anymore, the entire email list goes with you. It is still yours. You own it. If you decide you don't want to use Instagram anymore and you have 10,000 Instagram followers, none of those 10,000 people get downloaded in a list that go to you when you leave Instagram. That doesn't happen. All those people Instagram keeps because they are not yours. Those are Instagram's followers. But if you have 10,000 people on your email list, those are yours, because even if you change platforms that you use to reach those people, that access to those people, those contacts still belong to you. That's why your email list is yours. The list that some people just call a list instead of an email list, that is the bloodline of a business. Your social media followers are not the bloodline of a business, and neither are the vanity metrics that come from social media use. So do not be fooled by this. This is something I've been talking about for years to audiences. If you never heard me say it before, you've heard me say it now. Point number 17, today's topic, once again, is things about marketing that you need to understand. Number 17, follow the rule of one. Some of you did not know there was a rule of one. Now you know there's a rule of one. What does it mean? It means one clear message, one clear call to action. That is what you want people to do. One clear offer, often focus on one specific channel that works for you. So what I just gave you, I just told you this in the previous point. If I had to cut back on every other thing that I'm doing in terms of sending my message out to the world, to the general public who doesn't know who I am, I would just do the audio version of this show and nothing else. That would be my one marketing channel to the outside world. My cold marketing channel would be this show, audio version. And in terms of internal marketing to people who already have some idea who I am, it will be emails sending out to my list, because you have to know who I am to get on my email list in the first place. You have to do something intentionally to end up on my email list in the first place. Those are only two things I would do. Internal, email; external, this show, audio. That's the rule of one. One clear message. What I'm going to do is help you scale up and systematize your business. One clear call to action. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, click the button that says schedule a time to connect with us. One clear offer. Join Work on Your Game University. And the specific channels, as I told you. That is the rule of one. Keep it simple. One of the biggest challenges that some entrepreneurs have, especially if you're like me and you have a ton of different ideas, is that you may have so many products and offerings and funnels and landing pages and different things that people can do out there that you end up confusing your customer because you're giving them too many different options. Confused people do nothing. If you want to move people to action, give them one simple thing to do with one clear call to action, and do not confuse them by giving them more than one. More than one, you start confusing people. Now, it doesn't mean you can only sell one product. I mean, who are you talking to? I've written over 40 books. I got a bunch of different products, but my main focus, if you listen to the show, what's the main thing that I'm talking about most of the time? Work on Your Game University. The main thing I'm talking about over and over again is Work on Your Game University. Do I sell other things? Yes, I do. Would I have an issue with you wanting to buy something other than Work on Your Game University that is sold by me? No, I wouldn't. I would gladly sell it to you. However, my focus is Work on Your Game University. That's the rule of one. Focus on one thing specifically and just keep hammering that thing over and over and over and over again. Ideally, what you want to do is find a way to make everything else that you have symbiotic with the main thing that you want to offer. What is your core in the marketing world or the sales world? They call this the core offering. What's your core offering? The core offering of Amazon, for example, is what? All of you should know the answer. Many of you are customers. Amazon Prime. That is their core offer. Amazon Prime is not the product itself that Amazon sells. They sell a million different products. They're literally called the everything store. Their core offering is to get you on a Prime membership, because if you're on a Prime membership, guess what you're going to do every time you need something that Amazon might sell? You're going to go on the Amazon app and see if they have it, and you're going to buy it from them. Why? Because you have already committed to buying from Amazon by getting a Prime membership. So their core offering is to get you on Prime, because if you get on Prime, then everything else happens automatically. They got all your information. You're going to use Amazon movies. You're going to watch Amazon TV. You're going to listen to Amazon music. You're going to buy products on Amazon from which they get a cut. Everything else good happens as soon as they get you on Prime. Main thing is they want to get you on that Prime. That's it. I use a software called ClickFunnels. If you go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, and ClickFunnels, their core offering is the software itself. Now, why is the software itself the core offering? And their guy, Russell Brunson, he's written a bunch of books as well. Not as many as me, but a bunch. And he has other things he has going on. He has coaching programs. He has mastermind programs. He has events, all kinds of things that he does. But his core offering is getting you on the ClickFunnels software. Why is this? Because when you get on the software, then all the other things naturally happen. If you're on the software, then you may get a little bit curious about who this Russell Brunson guy is, because he's going to be emailing you over and over and over again about other things that he's doing that all lead to more use of the software. If you stop using the software, then you cannot take your stuff with you. They have a proprietary system. If you're not using ClickFunnels, you cannot transfer your websites over to another platform for the most part. There are some that are coming up with some stuff that lets you do it, but generally you can't get the exact same thing copied to another platform right now. Why? They want to keep you on the software. And also because the software is a recurring revenue product. Once they get you on that, then it's more likely that you're going to come to the events. It's more likely you may join the coaching program. More likely you're going to buy the books and all the other stuff they have that come with being a member using the software. You're going to engage with that. And the more you engage, the more likely you're going to stick around as a customer. See how that works? So what is the core offering for you? What is the rule? If you are following the rule of one, what are your ones? Your message, your call to action, your offer, and your specific channel. 1, 2, 3, 4. This may be challenging for some of you as you have many different things and many different products and services that you want your audience to know about. Trust me, I understand very well. Let me ask you a question. What's the number one main thing you want the majority of your audience to do and or engage with? Just ask yourself that question. What's the main thing you want them to do? That's the one you should focus on. Whatever that answer is, focus on that. Remember what we said about clarity, folks. The confused customer does nothing. If you have too many different things you are asking the customer to do, you are asking the customer to think and prioritize, and you should have already done that for them. They expect you to do all the thinking and prioritizing for them. They want you to figure everything out and to tell you what to do first, what to do second, and what to do last. When you go to a doctor and they write a prescription for you and they tell you to go get these 3 prescriptions filled at the local drugstore, they are going to tell you every day take 1 of these, the next day take 2 of these, and every other day take 3 of these. That's what the prescription is going to tell you. Why? Because it's done all the thinking for you. It doesn't leave it to you to figure out how and when to use the drugs. It tells you how to do it. That's the reason that you pay, because you want someone to do the thinking for you and figure it out for you. You understand? This is the rule of one, and this is how you achieve clarity. If you give yourself the rule of one, you have no choice but to be clear. There's no ends, there's no commas, just one. If you have too many different things, an overwhelmed and confused customer will exit. That's what they will do. They will not ask for questions. They will not ask questions for clarity. They will leave. That's what they're going to do. So keep it simple for them so that they know exactly what to do now and exactly what to do next. That's the game that you want to play. Point number 18. Today's topic, once again, and it's the last point in our ongoing series here. Things about marketing that you need to know. Number 18, collaboration is a growth shortcut. What does collaboration mean? It means working together with other people for whom and with whom you can have a symbiotic growth relationship, meaning you get something and they get something. That is a collaboration. I've done an entire series on the Dream 100 concept, which is a form of collaboration. It's about connecting with and leveraging the audience of others who are in your space, or leveraging the knowledge of others who are in your space or tangential to your space, where you help them in some way and they help you in some way. One thing that I do in leveraging the Dream 100/collaboration is I do a lot of appearances on other people's platforms known as podcasts. I get interviewed on a lot of other people's shows. And the reason that this is a symbiotic relationship is because the hosts of shows who do interviews all the time, one thing that they need are quality guests to come on their show. So all I do is find shows that seem to have guests that are of my ilk or in my lane, or their subject matter of the show is in my lane. Let's say they may have a show on entrepreneurship or book writing or being an athlete or transitioning careers or mindset or personal leadership or personal growth or personal development. Any one of those subjects is a good fit for me. We reach out to those shows. They ask us to come on as a guest. Now, why do they care if we come on as a guest? Because they need quality guests. I'm a quality guest. Why do I want to be on their show? Because they have an audience, and I want people in their audience to also join my audience. Many of you who are listening to this right now, the first time you heard my voice was not here. It was on somebody else's show, and you are a member of that person's audience, and maybe you still are, but you also added me to the list of shows that you listen to, and now you're a part of my audience as well. So it's a beneficial collaboration between both of us, and hopefully you appreciate my message on an ongoing basis, and you also appreciate the person where you heard me, because had it not been for them, you wouldn't know that I exist. That's collaboration, and collaboration is a shortcut to growth. The way that social proof is a shortcut to trust, collaboration is a shortcut to growth. Everybody heard me? A simple method, again, can be guest blogging, appearing on other people's platforms, getting on other people's stages. If someone else has an event and you are an invited speaker at that event, that is a form of a collaboration. The audience gets to know you, and they get to look good because they introduce their audience to a great person like you who has a great message. These are all forms of collaboration where you offer something, they offer something. It leads to a mutual benefit for both sides. The key to collaboration, folks, you need to find people for whom you can give them something that they otherwise don't have, and they can give you something that you otherwise do not have. Easiest way to start with this is ask yourself, what do I need that I don't have, and who has it? What do I need that I don't have, and who has it? So some of you just may say, hey, I just need more people who are in my target audience, who I need more people in my target audience, but they're not in it right now. So the question should be, okay, who has those people? Who has an audience of people who are, and then you list out the type of people you're looking for, and then you go find the people who have an audience like that, and then you ask yourself, what can I offer them that they don't have? And then you tell them, hey, you have what I want, I got what you want, how about we work together? This is all communication. This is your pitch. This is how you market yourself. And this is how you can set up collaborations. Collaboration is all about relationships, by the way. That's all collaborations are. This is about relationships, connecting with the right people for the right reasons, giving them something, they give you something, everybody wins. That's how collaborations work. These days, every time I go to a marketing conference or any type of business conference, I run into anywhere from 2 to 5 people for whom I have appeared on a platform of theirs, whether I spoke in one of their events, virtually or in person, or I have been on their show, and they will run into me at an event, and often depending on the type of event that I go to, they may notice me before I notice them, but they come and say to me, hey, I know you from... People come and say, I know you from somewhere, because sometimes people have shows where they've had hundreds of guests. So they know my face from somewhere, but they're not quite sure where. So I remember I saw Ilona. Ilona has a show called Leap Academy, which the last time I looked was in the top 5 of business podcasts out there, or educational podcasts, one of those. And I was at a conference last month from when I'm recording this, and it was the last day of the event, and I was standing in the lobby, and a woman walked past me, and she's looking at me, and I could tell the way she was looking at me that maybe she recognized me from somewhere. I was just waiting for her to tell me where. She said, I know you from somewhere. And I said, oh yeah, from where? And I didn't see her. I was just looking at her. I didn't recognize her. She recognized me. She said, well, you were a speaker at the event in the past? And I said, no, not this event. I hadn't spoken at this event. And she's kind of trying to jog her memory, trying to figure out who I am. She's standing there in front of me. And I looked down at her name tag and I noticed her name. And I said, oh, I know you. I was on your podcast. And then we started having a conversation. So she recognized my face. I recognized her name. And the point is, I'm telling you that to tell you that I've collaborated with so many people that we don't even remember each other all the time. But when they see my face, they're like, I know you, I see their name, I know them. And that's how we end up connecting even further. The point being, collaborations, folks, are a shortcut to building you and helping that other person build themselves. Again, symbiotic relationships. This is what you want. One of the biggest mindset shifts that I needed to make in going from being an athlete to being an entrepreneur was understanding that not everything is competition in business. There is very much competition in business. Let me not tell you that there's not competition, but business is also heavily about collaboration. A lot of business is about collaboration. So in the sports world, for example, it's all about just taking the head off of your opponent. Now, if you're doing a solo sport like golf or tennis or boxing, you have no real need to collaborate with other people. You may practice with other people for whatever reason to exchange tips every now and then. In a combat sport, you train with other fighters so that you can keep each other sharp. But for the most part, you're just trying to take everybody else's head off. In a team sport, of course, you have your teammates. In the business world, though, on the other hand, you have to find ways to collaborate and work together because there's a lot more opportunity when you work together than when everybody's just trying to beat everybody else. For example, in the professional services space, you will find real estate agents and finance people often working together. Why? Because a lot of times when someone is buying real estate or even selling real estate, they need a financial professional who can help them make the deal make sense. So it makes sense that a real estate person and a finance person collaborate because now they can give a prospect or a person who is being served everything that they need all in one suite instead of them having to go and get it piecemeal from different places. So this is a form of collaboration. So someone like myself who does something like coaching and I do speaking, and somebody else who hosts events all the time may say, well, Dre, you would be a great speaker at one of my events. I have 10 events a year. Can you speak at this one that's happening right here? And I'm perfect for it because I have a message that is perfect for their audience. So I get to expose myself to their audience. They get to show their audience that they know some other people with great value. Everybody wins in that situation. So your job is just figuring out, first of all, what you need. Secondly, what you have to offer that other people may want. And third, figuring out how to package what you have and to present it to someone who has what you want and let them know that, hey, there's a way that we can both win in this situation. And then you commence the collaboration, whatever it may be. Again, in the sports world, you don't have to think collaboration wise much. When I played as an athlete, I didn't do much collaborating. I didn't really like practicing, with other players or training with other players. I like training alone because I didn't want any players to see exactly what my training methods were. So I didn't do a whole lot of training with other players. I knew players who liked to do that. They would get in these groups of 5 or 6 or 4 guys and they would all train together. I wasn't into that. I did it every now and then, but I wasn't really into that. I really like keeping what I was doing to myself until you had to see it in the game. And again, aside from the players on your team, you're trying to beat everybody in sports. But in the business world, the competition is a big thing. For example, just this past week, I just finished reading the book written by Ed Stack. And Ed Stack, if you don't know the name, he runs a company called Dick's Sporting Goods. You have heard of the company. And the book is called It's How We Play the Game. And he shares a whole bunch of stories about other companies who existed before, during, and still during the current run of his store, and how many of them tried to take him out competition-wise, put him out financially, try to buy him out, try to compete against him in the same towns, and how they did the same thing to those companies. They would compete right back against him. And there's a lot of competition in that space. But at the same time, he explains collaborations that he did that helped move the business forward and help the collaborator move forward, such as his collaborations with venture capitalists who helped provide funding for his company when they really needed it. At certain times, they were in emergency situations. Banks who were nice to them and gave them good terms so that they could keep their business afloat at times that they needed it. Certain companies such as Nike and Under Armour, who did a whole lot of business with Dick's Sporting Goods, even putting their own little sections. You know, you're going to get Dick's Sporting Goods, there may be a little section that is just for Nike products. So you can kind of walk into that section of the store. That's a collaboration between Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods. So again, it's understanding both sides of competing and understanding how to work together. These days, if you go into a Target store, most of the time you go inside a Target, what are you going to see inside the Target? If it's a big enough store, you're usually going to see a Starbucks embedded inside the Target. What is that? That is a collaboration. Starbucks gets to sell their coffee to people who are in there shopping for home goods, because it's a symbiotic relationship. A bunch of people who shop for home goods usually drink Starbucks. And every time Starbucks makes a sale, a percentage of that sale is going to Target, because Target is providing the customers and is providing the space for Starbucks to do what it does. You may have seen stores where two businesses merge themselves together. So there's a store, coming soon store I've seen in my neighborhood. It's a place that makes burgers and a place that makes pizzas. So they're going to collaborate together, and you'll be able to get the burgers or the pizzas from either business at the same place. You remember when, I don't know if these still exist, but remember when KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Taco Bell merged together, and you would see the KFC Taco Bell. So if you want a taco and you want some KFC because you just want to be on the toilet all night tonight, you can go to that store. You can buy as much of it as you want. Those are all forms of collaborations. You must learn not only how to compete when necessary, competition still exists in business, but you also got to be able to collaborate and work together. And the best collaborations I've found in my experience is when you collaborate with people who are not necessarily in your exact same lane or your exact same size, but you collaborate with people who may be a little bit bigger than you, and they may be interested in someone who is not as common a name in their lane, but they have something valuable. I've found that works really well for me. So I can go to someone whose audience and business may be bigger than mine, but they still need the kind of things that somebody like myself can provide, not business-wise, but value-wise, message-wise. And I can go to them. They have a big audience, which benefits me because they all get to hear me, and they get benefited. They get the benefit also of showing their audience, okay, let me not just give you another version of the same person you heard 10 times already. Let me give you this guy. You never heard of him, and he has a really good message. Like, damn, thank you for introducing me to Dre. I never heard of him before. That's a form of collaboration. Looking at somebody who is not in your same industry, but everything that your industry offers, their industry needs. And everything their industry offers, your industry needs. So again, I gave you the example of people who sell real estate. They often need to connect with a finance person. Why? Because people who buy real estate often are not paying all in cash. And even if they are paying in cash, they want their money person involved. So how about we offer them both at the same time? That is a form of collaboration. People who sell real estate, to give you another example, they usually have relationships with staging companies. You'll know what staging is if you ever gone to see a house or see an apartment or a condo, and they show you I forget what the name of what they call it. Let's just call it a staged one. It's like a display condo or house. And what they do is they get it all staged. In other words, they put all the furniture in there, all the drapery in there. They have the little accents, the picture frames, everything in there as if somebody lives in a house. Why do they do that? And that comes in expense. That stuff costs money. They do all that because they want you to visualize what it looks like when someone actually lives here, instead of just showing you this bare bones house with no furniture in it, because now you have to visualize it yourself. Let's take that job away from you and let's do it for you. These are all forms of collaborations. So you want to look for, what are the ways that we can do this? Apple, another example. When they started the iTunes store, what did they do? They went to all the music companies and they said, music companies, instead of people downloading your music for free on Napster or Kazaa, how about instead you just allow us to sell your songs individually, because this was unheard of at the time. We're going to sell your songs individually instead of selling the whole album for 99 cents a piece. You might as well make 99 cents off the song rather than make nothing off the song, because that's what's happening right now. And the labels they reluctantly ended up saying yes. They said it's pretty much they're right, because this is where this is going. People are just going to download all our music. We'll make no money. Might as well make 99 cents. And they said okay to the iTunes offer. And then they started collaborating. And look where we are now. The whole point is, ladies and gentlemen, collaboration runs and drives business. The better you are collaborating, the better you'll be able to move yourself forward faster in business. You can move forward by doing things on your own. You move forward more by doing things in collaboration. So there's a lot of money to be made by working with others and doing things that you can't do based on your own efforts, nor based on your own talent and resources. All that said, recapping today's class, was part 6 of our 6-part mini series, things about marketing that you need to know. Number 16, email is still the golden goose. If I had to cut down all my internal marketing to one thing, it would be email. Number 17, follow the rule of one. One message, one clear call to action, one offer, and focus on one specific marketing channel that works for you, one at a time. One means clarity, guaranteed clarity when you are limited to just one option. And number 18, collaboration is a growth shortcut. In the sports world, everything's about competition. In the business world, some things are about competition, but there are a lot of things that are about collaboration. You have to learn when to use which one and collaborate as much as you possibly can, because there's a lot of opportunity in doing so. All that said, everybody, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Have me as your direct coach. Let's make sure you have the right collaborations. You're positioning yourself the right way, using the right marketing channels, so you have clarity in your message, so no one is ever again confused about what you're offering. You know exactly what they are getting, why they need it, and exactly what steps to take. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all